Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, 5 awesome internet marketing strategies you should be using. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, and we're best known for our amazing search engine optimization, the absolute best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the brand new Chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Well, maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. And it looks like the slides haven't quite caught up with us yet. Is everything okay? There it is. That's the DealerOn slide. We're going to go skip right over that. Also, I want to let you know that DealerOn is going to be exhibiting and presenting at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention in Tampa, Florida next week. So if you're going to be there, well, please, you've got to stop by booth 300 and say hi. We have the best booth around. While you're getting your digital dealer on, please check out the speaking sessions from these DealerOn executives. Remember, booth 300, and I can't wait to see you there. And while you're at Digital Dealer, you should know no one throws a better party than DealerOn. And yeah, we're going to be tearing it up in Tampa on Wednesday night, April 22nd at 8 p.m. So if you think you can handle that much fun and awesomeness, then you better stop by booth 300 and pick up your pass for what is sure to be the must-go-to party at Digital Dealer. I'll see you there too. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Adam Rouff and Chris Burns as our presenters today. First, Adam Rouff is the president of Drive Digital Group and a true digital marketing professional. He worked as a successful online strategist for over 15 years before jumping from the automotive vertical to the newspaper industry. There, he was tasked with tapping into a stream of dollars from an unfamiliar source for the newspaper industry. Online advertising? What was that? Adam, yes, was thrust into the digital space yet again. Adam was soon sought after for the position as the executive vice president of a web development company. That company grew both internally with the processes that Adam implemented and externally as the account base exploded by over 100% within a very short time. Recently, Adam has successfully built numerous internet companies that have been recognized for their comprehensive solutions that help agencies and businesses quickly succeed. Adam Rouff can be reached at adam@drivedigitalgroup.com. Now joining Adam today is Chris Burns, the COO of Drive Digital Group, a full-service digital advertising agency providing online marketing services for car dealers including websites, SEO, and SEM. It is evident that internet marketing has always been Chris's career passion, especially now that he's focusing on the automotive industry and working with some of the top automotive dealers in the country to help them further develop their web presence online. Chris readily admits that while he thoroughly enjoys the challenges of growing, learning, experimenting, and implementing plans online, it's really the ever-changing nature of the search and internet marketing field that he feels is the most exciting part of the job. He's been studying and finding interesting new ways to use structured data on the web and also specializes in creating new systems to streamline processes and maximize the many benefits of web tools. Chris can be reached at chris@drivedigitalgroup.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we're going to respond to you by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today, and please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Oh, and guess what? Our good friends at Drive Digital Group, yeah, they're giving away an awesome prize today. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win an iPad mini. This prize is valued at $350. Who wouldn't want one of these? Seriously, I wish I was eligible to win this prize. Well, you know what? I'm not. But you are. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned, and you could be the one walking away with this amazing prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey, so please fill it out. because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And by the way, do you tweet much? Well, you know what? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you had to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can do hashtag DealerOnWebby. You can reach me. I'm at Eliana Raggio. And our good friends over at Drive Digital are at Drive Digital GRP. We'd love to see what you got to say. Now, let's get started. Let's learn 5 awesome internet marketing strategies you should be using. Chris, how the heck are you today?
I am doing fantastic, Eliana. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Adam is with us.
Adam is with us too. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing great, Eliana. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. It's so great to have both of you here today. And what a great topic you picked, because you know what? Even though we've done maybe, kind of, a similar topic to this maybe like a year ago, boy, oh boy, anyone who's in the business knows that internet marketing strategies change so fast. And so many, I mean, it could literally change within the next 3 months, and there's new strategies that you can do. But from what I understand, maybe it's the technique and it's an interesting approach that you guys are going to be sharing with us today. So we're very excited to see what you have to say. And who would like to start off and tell us the kinds of things we're going to be learning about today? Is that you, Chris?
Yes, that's me. So you're right. The internet marketing is a pretty broad umbrella and covers so many topics. It's really tough for internet managers because they have to be constantly learning all the time. So we're talking about a lot in our webinar, in my opinion, and so we're going to focus on just 5 strategies that we think should be top of mind right now for internet managers or anybody working in that department at the dealership. The first thing we're going to touch on is the importance of mobile or responsive websites. Obviously, DealerOn has their chameleon sites. I love that word, and it's great. We're going to cover structured data markup, what that is and why it matters. We will go into SEM. We'll talk about how you can amplify your ROI through relevancy in new car paid search. And then we're going to talk about why we think you should be using automation to increase your ROI in used car SEM marketing. And finally, we're going to talk about the last point we want to make, which is how to successfully sell more parts online at the dealership. And we will have a question and answer session at the end. We're covering many different topics, so I would recommend if you have a question that you write it down, because as we go through and talk about different topics, you may forget about what we were talking about.
Oh, just, you know what? If you have a question, just send it on in as soon as you think of that question, and I'll hold on to it until it's the right time to ask it. All right, everyone? Please, take it away. What is this awful picture you're showing us?
I wish we had one of those movie announcers that could say it, because it would sound awesome with this picture. Just mobile get-in is coming.
Mobile get-in! I did my best.
Okay. That sounded a little ghoulish.
Well, I don't know what you were going for. Adam, you want to give it a shot?
You did this one, Eliana.
Thanks, Dave. What the heck is mobile get-in?
Mobile get-in is what we're calling the update that's happening next Tuesday. I'm sure that most of the people here have heard about it already. In case you haven't, it's basically a huge update on April 21st that is going to basically impact every dealership in the country. So that's why we wanted to talk about mobile first and why we're recommending responsive. So let's get into it. We basically want to drive home what's happening with mobile search and why Google is factoring mobile readiness so heavily in the search algorithm, and it is heavy. The graphic on your left is basically summarizing the global popularity of using different digital devices, and this data came from the Global Web Index, by the way. It's clearly showing the popularity of smartphone ownership. Basically, assume 100 people were surveyed and 91% of them said that they use a PC or laptop, for example. 80% of those 100 people said they use a smartphone. But what's interesting is as you get down, you can see that most people think in terms of just desktop or cell phone, right? But people are actually using way more variety of devices to access the internet today than ever before. Gaming consoles is a huge one. I personally use my PS4 to to access the internet. Smart TVs, smart watches, there's all kinds of mobile tech coming out. Wearable technology, smart wristbands. And so when you talk about mobile readiness, you want to make sure that you're thinking in terms of not just desktop and smartphone, but making sure that your website will have a consistent user experience no matter what device is accessing your website. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, but back up. You use your game console? I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah, all of the new generation game consoles have internet access. And you can
No, I know they do, but if you have access to your smartphone or your tablet, why would you use your game console? I guess.
Well, some people, I'm not saying myself, happen to be sitting in front of their game machine for quite a while. And
okay.
it's the most convenient thing in front of them. And especially kids. Kids are way more adept at this than adults.
Gotcha.
You know, wearable tech is another big up-and-coming thing. I have Google Glass, which I access websites through, and I'm looking at an Apple phone or iPhone or whatever they're calling that. And I think those just came out recently, so I'll be accessing from at least 4 to 5 different devices in any given day.
Gotcha.
And so what you're looking at in the graphic on the right is what people have been talking about for a long time. We've heard a lot of people saying that eventually mobile searches will surpass desktop searches. And this data from ComScore shows that in 2014, the number of global searches happening from mobile devices finally surpassed desktop searches. And you can see that the trend is just continuing to separate those two. So getting back into the algorithm update that's happening, why is the April 21st algorithm a seismic change? Google is telling us that a mobile-friendly and mobile-responsive website is going to be rewarded with better positioning in Google's mobile search engine results. And that means more traffic from a rapidly expanding user base. On the other side of that, if your website is not mobile-friendly, you will see less mobile organic traffic, and you're going to receive a much smaller piece of the expanding mobile pie. And you're going to be forced to rely on a shrinking desktop audience base. Based on the numbers I just showed you, you can see that it will continue to drop off compared to mobile. What makes this update different than others, because Google does a lot of updates throughout the year, and we've all just been through several big updates recently that impacted search results heavily, and Google has told us the percentage of search results that are affected. They may say that the Panda update will affect 12% of searches, and so forth. But what the word that they used in this update is that it's going to have a significant impact in our search results. I did some research, and in the history of Google updates, they've only used the word significant twice before this one, and they were very significant updates. Impact that they had on the search results.
Okay, I'm scared now.
Well, the point is that you just want to be ready. If you've heard of Penguin or Panda,
I have.
Those updates, to put it in comparison, those updates have combined affected maybe 20% or less of searches. And Google has said that this will have a bigger impact than both of them combined. So this is a big deal, and it's something that people are paying a lot of attention to. Webmasters saw this coming more than 3 years ago, and the way that they tried to deal with it was by creating a separate mobile website so that people from those types of devices could see a website that would fit their device. But it was on a different domain completely, and that meant that they had to update 2 sets of content separately. So if you wanted to update your website, you had to also log in and update your mobile site separately. For instance, m.Microsoft or m.ESPN, and that's how it used to be done. But it didn't address the coming proliferation and form factors across tablets. Adam can tell you he has a phablet, and wearable tech and smart TVs and readers and all these other things that are coming out now. So in a few minutes, we're going to talk about how to make sure you're prepared for the update. But first, we want to talk a little bit more about mobile websites. There's 3 main ways today to have a mobile website, right? we talked about the first that came out, which was having a separate website on a separate domain. That goes against Google's recommendations today. And that method can potentially get you in a bad position from an SEO standpoint and negatively affect your organic results. And because of that, most companies are opting for a much better alternative, which is responsive or adaptive. Today, the most common solution utilized by web designers is the responsive design, as DealerOn just rolled out theirs. We've seen it. We like it. We're a fan. I think all of their customers appreciate that they took the time to implement that before this happened.
Yes.
The reason that we like that is because we don't care what the device is on a responsive design. We only look at the size of the browser that it's being viewed in. That allows you to display a consistent user experience on any possible device, since we don't look at the device. The other solution is adaptive. Dealer.com has an adaptive platform. I think they call it a seamless sites or something like that. And the strategy there is that rather than looking at the browser size, they have a script that runs and looks at the device that's coming in to try to look at the site. So the problem with that is that if that script falls out of date with the device list, it can result in problems like the server sending a mobile optimized site to a tablet user. And the other problem you have there is that they have to assume the device orientation. The most common orientation is portrait, but the user may be holding the device in a different orientation like landscape, and their user experience would be negatively affected. So it's not that adaptive is bad. It's just that, in our opinion, responsive is the more encompassing and better way to go. That's why, like DealerOn, we build sites, and we have for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, on responsive design. So the next question is, are you ready, right? So now you know why mobile is so important, and you know why we recommend that you make sure you're on a responsive design. The question that we have for you now is, are you ready? So there are 2 resources that I'd recommend you to check, just to make sure that you're ready for the updates that's happening on Tuesday. The first is a free it's a Google mobile-friendly testing tool. So all you need to do is go to the URL that you see, right there in the slide, or you can just go to Google and type in the keywords mobile-friendly testing tool, and I'm sure you can get there just as easily. You put in your URL to your website, and Google's going to go ahead and tell you if it deems your website to be mobile ready or not. It's going to give you a straight yes in green or a no in red. And that's going to help you know how Google sees your site. Now, assuming that Google likes your site and you are mobile friendly, the second thing you want to look at is how good is my mobile design. So if you're mobile ready, don't worry about next week. You're good to go. You just need to start seeing if there are any tweaks you need to make to try to improve your design, to make it a better user experience, a faster loading website, and all those are factors that are considered in the ranking algorithm as well. If you have access to Webmaster Tools, you're going to want to log in and check out the Mobile Usability Report in Webmaster Tools. So Google Webmaster Tools is a free tool that we webmasters use to track the effectiveness of your website in Google search engine. And it's a way for Google to communicate directly with the owner of the website as well. So they'll occasionally send you notifications if they find problems on your website suggesting that you fix them. It's important to check these things because as webmasters, we've had access to the mobile usability section in the Webmaster Tools for quite a while now. When you see that Google's paying this much attention to an aspect of a website, you know that it's very important. And we've known for some time that it's very important, and that's why huge vendors like DealerOn and Dealer.com have made such a huge push to try to get to a responsive or adaptive platform. And there are other elements, too, in Webmaster Tools that we're seeing now that I'm going to get into in a little bit with the structured data that are equally important in our opinion. But it's going to be a down-the-road thing, so we need to get started on it now so that you're ready when these huge updates come out. So I recommend you check your website, make sure it's mobile ready. log into Webmaster Tools, make sure there's no problems with the usability of the website. If there isn't, then you're doing a great job. If you see any issues, get in touch with your webmaster and make sure they're fixing it as quickly as possible. And now, I think we're going to do a poll question, Eliana.
That sounds like a great idea. All right, audience. This is your first of 3 poll questions today. Of course, as always, we really value your input on these poll questions. Lets us know what's happening over at your dealership. And here's your first question. It's on your screen now. What kind of mobile website platform are you currently using at your dealership? Please select one of the following answers. Is it responsive, adaptive? Do you have a separate mobile website? Do you have no mobile website? Or you really have no idea? That's fine too. We're just curious. What kind of mobile website platform are you currently using at your dealership? Responsive, adaptive, a separate mobile website entirely, none, or you have no idea. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we'll close the poll and we will share the results. And let me just say, if you're in the process of getting a responsive website made, put responsive. All right. I'll give you that one. All right. So, audience, thank you so much. We're getting so many votes in. You guys are awesome. Like I said, we're going to have a couple more poll questions coming your way in a little bit. So sit tight. We love to hear from you guys and see what's happening in your world. Let's close this poll in another couple of seconds and share the results. Chris and Adam, are you ready for this?
I am ready.
I am.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, the majority of today's audience, 65% in fact, said they have a responsive mobile website platform. 23% have adaptive. 5% of today's audience said that they have a separate mobile site. Everyone on the call said that they have a mobile website, by the way. And 8% of today's audience admit that they have no idea what kind of mobile website platform they currently have at their dealership. But let's go back to this. So 65% have responsive. Let's hope they all have DealerOn responsive websites, maybe. I don't know.
That's
great. If only it were. All right, back to you.
The 23% that are adaptive, although I was saying some negative things about them, that doesn't mean that you're going to have any kind of negative impact necessarily from this update. You should be fine. It's only the small details that will matter with adaptive versus responsive. If you have the choice, we recommend you go responsive. For those few, what did you say, 5% that were on mobile, separate mobile?
A separate mobile site, correct, 5%.
Those people really need to act quickly and try to move in a different direction as soon as possible. The good thing before we move on about this update, mobile get-in next week, is that unlike other updates, their algorithm will run in real time. So whereas Panda and some of these other updates had to be refreshed every quarter, this will run every time it crawls your site. So if you are on a separate mobile site and you don't make the deadline of next Tuesday, maybe you launch a new site a week later, the second that it crawls your new site, you will see the benefit of that work in real time. So that's a plus. Now, we're going to move on to structured data, what it is and why we think it matters. I think that people have, in the previous updates that have been coming, Google's been talking a little bit about structured data markup. It's also called semantic markup. You may have heard that. In its simplest sense, it's just a way that you can annotate the content of your website so that machines can understand it better. That's the gist of what you're doing when you use structured data markup on your website. When your websites include structured data markup, Google and other search engines can use that data to index your content better. They can present it more prominently in search results, and they can surface it in new experiences like voice answers, maps, Google Now, and a variety of other ways. Eliana, have you ever done a search for a movie and seen like a recap of the reviews right there in the search results?
Heck yeah, I love that. That's so helpful.
It's so helpful, right?
Yeah.
They've been able to do that using structured data. So they actually mark up every review, every rating, and then they aggregate that data, and the machine of Google's crawler is able to consume that and present it in a more interesting way in the search results. Now, this is early on. So the ratings and reviews is pretty consistent at this point, and they've been doing it for some time. But there are other things that they're doing with it as well. If you Google recipes, if you're looking at celebrities, current events, you'll see all kinds of information cards that are coming up. All of the data they're using in those cards are because the websites used structured data, and search engines were able to crawl it, consume it, and trust it enough to display it more prominently in the search results. That's a big deal. So it's not just Google. Bing and Yahoo came together with Google, and they created a project called the schema.org project to promote a standard markup language that all search engines can read. Because the problem they have is they're sending out machines to read websites, not people. And they don't want to just match keywords to content. They want to try to get the context. They want to understand what you're looking for, and they want to show you something that's relevant to that search. The only way they can do that is if they better understand the content of your website, and they're more confident in what the content is. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if everyone on the internet is using a standardized markup to tell them what the content is. So we keep our eyes on Google patents and other key indicators of important features that Google's utilizing. Like I mentioned earlier, in Webmaster Tools, you saw that it had a mobile usability section. There's also a structured data section where Google will show you what it's finding on your website that is marked up. And it gives you a lot of reporting about that. That's a sign to webmasters that they really care about this and it's important to them. It should be high on our radar right now. We know that a lot of web providers have started to dip their feet into marking up websites with this technology, but from what we've seen, they're only marking up the most basic pieces of content that today Google's using to enhance search results, like the dealer hours, the dealer's address, the logo of the dealership and their phone number, and social profiles. Those are all things that you can mark up today, and they can actually put it, if someone Googles your dealership's name, in the information card on the side there that shows up. Your logo can show up there. Your social profiles can be linked there if they're marked up semantically on your website. That's a good place to start, since it can help you, in ways I just mentioned today. We're promoting utilizing automotive markup that allows you to tag all the pieces of content on your website, especially your VDPs, so that you can explicitly provide Google with every detail of every vehicle you have in stock. So utilizing structured data markup on your dealer's website will allow you to gain, today, more authority with search engines, which can help enhance the search engine listings, but ultimately improve your organic rankings for the dealership on long-tail searches. Over time, Google's going to find more and more interesting ways to use this. It's already in Webmaster Tools. It's very important. So again, we want to show you how you can tell if your website is using structured data today. Google provides us with a free tool that allows us to basically test your website and see if the website is properly utilizing the structured data markup. And it shows you how Google's reading it. And there's a URL on the screen now that you can go to. You just plug in the URL of your dealership's website. I suggest you go to a VDP page and use that one, since that's got all of the most important content that you want. And look at the results and use that to spark a discussion with your web provider about ways that you can enhance your dealership's website with this structured data markup. I know DealerOn is using it, and there are some other providers that are using it today. But if you're not using a DealerOn site or our site, you might want to take a look and start a conversation. Did you want to add anything about structured data before I move on, Adam?
Chris, is it possible for there to be implementation of partial structured data as opposed to fully implementing an entire structured data strategy?
Yeah, so that's what we see right now in other web providers, is that they mark up, they do some partial markup. So you've got to indicate to Google that you're using a certain type of language, which they have a few that are out there, and then you've got to actually mark up each individual piece of content. So most web vendors in the automotive industry, well, the higher level ones, are doing it partially right now. We're implementing it fully. There are full automotive languages that you can use to mark up every piece of content. We're doing it fully, and I'm sure everybody else will get on board eventually. We just want to make sure it's something that everybody on this call is going to talk to their web provider about and hopefully help move them in that direction moving forward.
Yeah, and this tool will allow them to see if they're getting partial, if any, structured data or fully implemented, correct?
Or even it will show you if you've made an attempt to mark up the data but done it improperly. It will show you errors and what you've done wrong and how you need to change it to fix it so that the machines can read it properly. So that tool is really invaluable. And the fact that there even is a free tool and that they do have an entire section in Webmaster Tools about it should be a huge indicator to webmasters that it's something they should be really focusing on right now. So semantic structured data, it's all cool stuff. It can get kind of geeky. I really like it. I hope everybody starts to Google it and learn more about it. Moving on to something that mostly everybody is doing, we kind of want to break up SEM into two sections. We told you we want to talk about amplifying relevancy and paid search. We want to do that on the new car side and the used car side because we have two different methods that we promote to try to focus on relevancy on used advertising versus new car advertising. Honestly, SEM alone can take up multiple webinar sessions by itself because there's so much that goes into it, and you really have to address in great detail in order to maximize your success. We obviously don't have time to go that in depth, so the one thing I want to draw your attention to is relevancy in paid advertising. That's what we want to talk about. What you're seeing here is what's called an SQR report. An SQR report is called a search query report. It's something that we use very often, and you may want to ask whoever's handling your SEM to go over with you at least once a month. It's basically a way that you can keep refining your campaigns in AdWords. We use them for two main purposes on an ongoing basis. The first thing you want to pay attention to is in any SEM campaign is negative keywords. You want to have a robust negative keyword list that makes sure that you're not advertising for terms that you don't want to show up for. For example, in your new car campaigns, which we'll get into in a little bit of detail on the strategy of that in a minute, you want to make sure that people searching for terms that include like parts, bad reviews, things like that. In your modified matches, you're not showing up for those terms. People advertise in two ways, exact match and modified match. Exact match means if I type in Infinity GQ37, I'll show up every time. If I type in Infinity G37 Q60, I won't because it's not exact. But if you have a modified broad match keyword, you'll show up for Infinity G37 and any other words that might be typed before or after that. So that's why it's so important to have a negative keyword list because there's a lot of variables when you're advertising in a more generic way and people can type anything. So over time, you develop a really nice, robust negative keyword list. But one thing you don't want to do is think you have it all figured out because new slang, new terms come out, people start searching in different ways, so you really have to stay on top of what people are searching and what keywords you're popping for and weeding out those negative keywords. You need to have separate campaigns for those kinds of things. People that are looking for rims and parts for a car need to be in a campaign that's focused on specifically rims, parts, accessories, things like that. But when you're trying to advertise new cars, you don't want to pick up those types of searches. The SQR reports help us find any of those that have slipped through the cracks and make sure that we're not advertising for them in the future by adding them to a negative keyword report. The other thing that you want to look at in the SQR report is discovering new keywords that you can put into exact match and get them out of a modified broad match campaign. That way you can target them more accurately, which will give you a better quality score and relevancy for those terms moving forward. And the more relevant we are, the higher our quality score will be, and the lower our cost per click goes, which gives us a better ROI with our customers' ad spend. Now, that's talking about keywords. The other main aspect of being highly relevant in SEM is utilizing aggressive lead specials and matching the content in the ad to the content in the landing page. We try to utilize the most aggressive lead specials that we can get from our dealers every month. So by advertising a monthly payment, you're drawing attention to your ad, which is going to increase click-through because not everybody is doing that. And there's a few reasons not everybody is doing that. You can't really automate the process of adding a lead special to an ad because although there are national lead specials that you could use, most dealers have their own lead specials that are more aggressive than national specials. And so it really takes a manual, for us, it's a very manual process. We have to contact the dealer every month, find out what their local specials are, and then we have to update the ad copy, and then we need to go to the landing page and update the content on the landing page to match the ad copy. So as you can tell, it's a very manual, time-consuming process, which is why big vendors just don't want to do it. It costs money, takes a lot of time, not scalable, they don't like it. With a smaller boutique firm, that's kind of, you know, the claim to fame. With a smaller boutique firm, they want to take the time. They want to do it right, and they want to make sure you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. The problem you're in
if I touch on that a little bit?
Yeah.
The dealerships that don't have a very large lease penetration in their PMA, maybe their customers just don't lease. A lot of the times we'd recommend aggressive finance specials that incorporate payments because if you travel across the country, sometimes customers just don't lease in certain areas of the country. So the dealers showcase aggressive new car payments for financing. Just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So the problem that other companies run into is that it's not maximizing their profits to do it this way, so they don't do it. But if you really want to boost the relevancy of your ads and you want to maximize your ROI, you have to make sure that they're taking the steps to build your ad carefully, utilizing what we recommend is the monthly payment and then matching the landing page with all of the key points you see on the slide right now. That's going to give you the best opportunity for Google to make the connection that your ad is relevant to the destination URL and the associated content there. We also don't want to automatically generate ads for every new vehicle in stock, as I said, because if you have 300 new cars, you've probably only got a handful of models. So you've got a lot of duplicated cars there, and it doesn't make sense really to try to automate that process. So just to kind of visualize what we're talking about, there's two images to help you visualize it. You can see the copy in the ad is referencing a $100 per month lease special. So when someone clicks that ad, they're going to feel more comfortable if they see the exact copy in the landing page. And also, Google will see that it's the exact same copy and give you a boost in relevancy. Conversion points, obviously, once you get them to the landing page, the battle becomes turning it into a lead for the dealer. So it's about converting them. And you know, you want to have conversion points above the fold. You want to have easy links to the actual vehicles in inventory that match the search that was done. And obviously, all of the research information, videos, 360 views, and the vehicle specs, all that needs to be there. We do see a lot of web vendors now offering showroom pages like the one you're seeing here, but what we found is that they're really lacking the ability to customize it, especially with that monthly special, which is something you're going to have to update every month if you're going to match it to the ad. So, with that being said, I think we have another poll question, Eliana.
Yes, we do. All right, audience. We have your second of 3 poll questions. It's up on your screen now. We'd love it if we could get your vote on this. The question is, how involved are you in your dealership's current paid advertising strategy? Oh, this is a good question. Please select one of the following answers. I manage every possible detail. I'm fairly involved with all decisions and details. I'm just interested in the reporting and the performance. The rest of that stuff somebody else takes care of. I'm completely hands-off. I let my vendor take care of all of it. And we don't do paid search. Hey, none of these answers I think are wrong, but we just want to know what's happening at your dealership. So let's read it again. How involved are you in your dealership's current paid advertising strategy? Please select 1. You manage every possible detail. You're fairly involved with all the decisions and details. You're just interested in the reporting and the performance. You're completely hands-off and you let your vendor do it all. Or you don't do paid search at your dealership. Great. Thank you wow. You guys are awesome today. On the ball. Thank you so much, audience. Almost everyone has voted now. So let's close this poll and share the results. Chris and Adam, here you go. Answers coming your way now. 20% of today's audience, wow, said that they manage every possible detail. 20%. Actually, I'm kind of surprised it's even that high. 20%, that's a great number.
Yeah, that is surprising. It's great.
54% though, the majority, 54% said that they're fairly involved with all the decisions and the details. Only 7% admitted that they're only interested in the reporting and the performance. 17% said that they're completely hands-off and the vendor does it all. And 2% of today's audience said that they don't do any paid search. Chris, Adam, does that help you out?
Sure.
So,
yeah, like Chris mentioned earlier. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
You guys are cute.
Total of 24%, I believe, that are either hands-off or only look at reporting. That's surprising. I appreciate their honesty there. And hopefully part of their homework can be to go back and take a look at that in more detail.
That's true. 17% and 7% is 24%. Yeah. So about a quarter of today's audience say they're pretty distant from their paid advertising strategy decisions. You would recommend one of the top 2, either to be in charge of everything or at least majorly involved in those decisions?
Obviously, you're hiring someone as a professional to handle things for you, so you shouldn't have to be majorly involved, but we definitely recommend you're at least involved in the overall strategy discussions. So you know what the overall strategy is. You don't have to be involved in every detail, although I see a lot of people are.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to close this one and get back to your slide deck. There you go.
Did you have something to add there, Adam? I feel like I talked over you.
No, I was going to say that there's a lot more than just going to Google and doing a search that constitutes paid search. So I just want to have people keep that in mind. If they're doing any sort of Facebook targeted advertising or YouTube video pre-roll, real-time bidding, all that has to do with paid search. I just want people to keep that in mind. That's it.
Absolutely. And so we're going to transition now into what we're recommending for used car SEM as your focus. The graphic you see here is representing a traditional used car campaign, which is basically typically consists of a generic brand ad group, sometimes make and model ad group separated out. This is where automation can really shine, in our opinion. There are several vendors out there that take a used car inventory feed and dynamically generate text and or display ads with your inventory. We like it so much that we actually spun off a separate company. We built a software in-house that's proprietary. We submitted a patent request and were awarded a patent just recently in the way that we generate monthly payments and display those payments in the ads dynamically. And it's been approved from Google already. So when we talk about used car SEM, it's a very different ballgame. And you know, as you can see, on the automation side, you can drill into a lot more detail. The key is that you're using automated methods to get more granular. You still need to pay attention to the overall strategy being used, which, as we keep telling you, should be focusing on building the maximum amount of relevancy that you can squeeze out of each and every ad and utilizing a monthly payment if it's appropriate for your dealership whenever you can. So how do you do that? You can see in the graphics, it's pretty self-explanatory. The way we do it on the automation side, we do have a generic ad group that is similar to traditional because you don't want to miss those. That's where the bulk of the searches are. It's people in research mode that are just Googling like a make model. The difference is for us, through automation, we can not only show them how many of those make models you have in stock, we can showcase the pricing from the lowest priced one of those make and models that you have in stock to try to capture their attention and get them to a landing page that will match that content. But you want to have a negative keyword list in that group of years, because all of the other ads that we run are going to be specific to the vehicle in the VIN. And that's going to include a year, make, and model exact and modified broad match keyword. So if someone actually searches for a specific year, make, and model, we want to show an ad that showcases that exact car. So they're out there doing a search. They're looking for a 2012 Honda Accord. You have a 2012 Honda Accord in stock. They're in your neighborhood. We show them an ad for that specific vehicle with the monthly payment. So we get a bunch of criteria from our dealerships, and we ask them to let us know what a typical APR is based on the year, a bunch of other factors that we can put into an algorithm that will allow us to automatically generate a monthly payment in the vehicles. We also set a cap and a floor on the payments, because if you have a newer Lamborghini in stock, you probably don't want to show an $800 or higher monthly payment. And vice versa, if you've got an older car, you probably don't want to show an $89 monthly payment or less. But that allows you to get more granular in the way that you're advertising. And we want to showcase the actual price of the vehicle too, not just the monthly payment. And then you've got some extra ad copy left over that you can use for relevancy. So you're telling them the price and the payment. They know it's the same year, make, and model. You want to also show them some really cool stuff about the car. So we have a set criteria we pull out of the feed. If you have leather interior, if you have a sunroof, if the car is a certified vehicle, if it has low miles, those are all things that we could dynamically generate in the ad. But we want to be careful that if we use anything in the ad, we exactly match it on the landing page. And when you're using software, you can programmatically make sure that happens every time. And not just every time in your text ads, but on, as Adam said, it's not just keyword searches in Google. You're also doing display advertising, and you're advertising on Facebook. And so all of those banners can exactly match the text-based ads that you're using. So you have a very consistent marketing message across all paid search channels for the used cars. Once we get them to the landing page, we have two main goals. One is we have to satisfy Google. We need to make sure that our checklist of things that we know Google is looking for to maximize the relevancy of the page is accomplished. That includes matching the ad copy, the meta tags, the H1 tags, and even the text that we showcasing the vehicles, like the showcase features of the car that we spoke about. And that's going to build up the relevancy, which increases our quality score and lowers our cost per click. But from the other side is that from the user's perspective, we want to make sure that the vehicle and the payment that they were looking at in the ad is readily available to them when they land at the landing page. We also want to show, for example, that there's 194 other vehicles in inventory. Let me just forward this one slide. There we go. So this is an example of a landing page. You can see that when they get there, they see the year, make, model. They see the payment prominently. All of the features that we used in the ad are also here under the features section. This one is cruise control and security system. And they can see that you have a lot of other cars in stock, 194 in this case. And so when we get them here, we want to keep that car showcased to them. So we have a little match banner. As they search through the filters or maybe look at other cars, we keep that specific car sticky on the top at all times. And then it's just about conversion and trying to get them to actually submit a form or place a phone call, which is the hard part's already done, right? This isn't a top of the funnel, somebody that's just doing some basic research. We're driving people here that are looking for a specific car. They're already at the bottom of the funnel. They know what they want, and it's the car that you have in stock, and they're within a driving distance from your dealership. So those leads are obviously going to be a lot more valuable than somebody who's just doing research about a brand new, or just a Mitsubishi Outlander in general. So there are some other benefits to automation other than what we've talked about. Automated bidding is a big one. So when you use software, you can actually look at performance factors and variables like ad position, and then adjust the bid daily up or down in large or small increments depending on how far off the keyword performance is to what our goals are that we set. So our software can do that every day. But if it was a human being, you'd be lucky if they touched it once a month. So obviously automated bidding is something that is well suited to this type of advertising. And over time, the longer your campaigns run, the tighter and tighter the bidding at the keyword level gets, so that every day it gets a little closer to the sweet spot where we're maximizing the cost per click and the ROI of your whole campaign. That's just not a level of detail that any human is ever going to be able to reach, and automation is perfect for that. The other thing I want to mention is that when you're using automation, you can automatically add and remove cars as they're updated in your inventory feed. You can generate new ads and pause ads, which is obviously impossible for a human to keep up with that level of detail. And lastly, because everything is generated programmatically, even though we're implementing complex algorithms, we're able to maintain a consistent, updated message across, as I said earlier, text and display advertising using software. And unless Adam has anything to add, I think that's another poll question.
I'm good, Chris. You did a great job on that one.
All right, well then let's go to your third and final poll question. It's up on your screen now, and audience, you have not disappointed me yet today. So here's your last question. It's a pretty simple one. Are you currently selling parts online at your dealership? Are you currently selling parts online? Please select one of the following. Yep, and it's working great for us. Yes, but we're not getting quite the results we would like to see. Not yet, but you know what? We're thinking about it. We're thinking we want to sell some parts online. How about, no, we don't. Management just doesn't want to sell parts online. Or, no way, we are too busy selling us some cars. Okay, so we want to know, are you currently selling parts online? Yeah, it's working great. Yes, but we wish we were getting better results. Not yet, but soon. No, management doesn't want to do that. Or, heck no. Our business is selling cars, not selling parts. Okay, so once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And I'm curious, Adam and Chris, do you have any stats on this, like nationwide?
Yeah.
How many dealers are actually selling parts online?
The statistic we always hear is 10% of dealers.
Only 10?
Are selling parts.
All right, let's see what we got over here on our webinar, huh? Okay, audience, you guys rock. Thank you so much for getting involved with our poll questions. And let's share the results. Okay, 8% of today's audience said yes, they do sell parts online, and it does work great for them. That's 8%. But the majority, 46%, said yes, but they admit they're not getting quite the results they would like to see. So right there, that's over 50% of today's audience, which is wonderful. I told you I had a very, very sharp audience, right?
Very savvy audience.
Very. Okay, 35% of today's audience said not yet, but they're thinking about it. And then the final 10% of today's audience are split. 5% said no, management doesn't want to do that. And another 5% said no way, we sell cars. So...
that's way higher than we were expecting to see.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. And audience, thank you so much with those poll questions. We really appreciate it. Also want to encourage you, if you have questions for today's DealerOn webinar presenters, Adam Rouff and Chris Burns, please send those questions in. We're going to be getting to that Q&A session in just another minute. Okay, Chris?
Yeah, so that leads us to our last section. I know we're running short on time, so I'll burn through it quickly. We know that the vast majority of dealers we talk to, obviously not our audience, they're not selling parts online today. Most of the dealers we talk to, they just have a parts request form on their website that allows the customer to basically tell them a part that they're looking for, through a typical form. They don't have a full parts catalog online on a separate e-commerce store. And it's crazy because this is typically one of the big profit centers for a dealership, right? Service and parts. And we know for a fact that 7 in 10 drivers start their parts purchase online. So if you're there with a competitive offer on your parts prices, and they're being showcased on a modern-looking, easy-to-navigate e-commerce portal, you obviously stand a great chance of pulling that business into your dealership. In the past, options have been pretty limited when trying to set up a parts website online. There was one big vendor, and it wasn't awesome. Just like it was back in the old days with dealer inventory, you basically had to have the parts website like you had your inventory on a separate website, and you had to frame it into your website. And that's what people have been dealing with for a long time. Some people, and I'm sure some of our audience is in a situation where that's still the case. That used to be the case with their inventory years ago. But things have progressed. And I think they're progressing now pretty quickly on the parts side as well. Because what you want to have is a full-fledged automotive parts e-commerce solution that's optimized for mobile and organic search. Those people are online right now searching for long-tail keywords and part numbers. We know because we built a parts platform and we have access to the analytics, and we can see that that's what they're searching for. And you can only compete for that business if you have invested in having a separate parts website that's completely SEO friendly. There's a host of new vendors that we've seen in the last couple of years offering attractive, user-friendly, full-fledged e-commerce sites for car dealers to sell parts now. So there's really no reason for people not to jump in at this point and start doing it. I admit that it can be difficult to find a vendor that has basically can single-handedly provide the parts platform, the search and optimization of the platform, and do SEM on the parts. That can be hard to find, but I do know of one that exists, and I'm winking.
You're winking? Would it be you guys?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. But so just like your dealership website, you want to make sure your parts website has all the same benefits and features that we've already talked about in order to succeed. We've already talked about how important it is to be mobile ready, and you know that we're recommending a responsive mobile design, and that goes to your parts website too. There are several companies offering responsive part websites now, so you have some options out there that you didn't have even 2 years ago. We've already talked about the importance of structured data and semantically marking up your websites. All of that also applies to your parts website too. You'll see better organic traffic and become more of an authority online if you fully marked up all of your parts data on the e-commerce site with structured data. We know of a couple vendors that are doing this now. Again, it's hard to find somebody that's combining the mobile responsive and the semantic, but I know of one. One of the key things about e-commerce sites that has to be easy to find parts for customers. When you're looking into a vendor to help you set up a parts website, make sure you go through sample sites and see if you, pretending to be a customer, can find a part easily. It's critical to online sales that the path to the product is easy for the customer to follow. And really the only way you're going to know that is if you dig in and try it yourself. One of the biggest and unfortunately least easy to find features in an e-commerce store is that it has to be very search engine friendly. Even today, with some of the newer vendors coming out, we've seen that they offer next to nothing sometimes when it comes to optimizing their own parts websites, their own parts platforms. We've been asked in the past to help dealers on other platforms try to optimize their e-commerce sites. They offered to pay us, and we literally couldn't take their money because there was nothing we could do to help them. It's just not possible on some of these platforms to really optimize them for search. So you want to make sure that when you're talking to a vendor that they understand the importance of fully optimizing the parts website for you. We know that most people are searching for replacement, performance, and maintenance parts. So you want to make sure that vendors you're talking to set up your e-commerce store have those basic parts catalogs covered. And lastly, selling on eBay is becoming much more important. There are very few vendors that have a really nice eBay integration. They're out there, including us, and you want to have a nice eBay integration that makes it easy to list your websites on your eBay store and also track the performance of the campaigns and give you good reporting. And those are the main points. I know we ran over a little bit. I apologize. Those are the main points I wanted to talk about with regards to selling your parts online and trying to make sure that you're maximizing your spend with your parts store. Did you have anything to add there, Adam? No, we lost him. So.
No, I'm here. No, I'm good, Chris. I think you covered it just right.
Okay. Suggested resources, Eliana, I listed some here for everyone. These are some of the tools we've already talked about, the free tools on checking your mobile friendliness. I linked schema.org, which is the structured data program I talked about that the search engines have done together. There's a structured data testing tool there that's free from Google. And then we listed a couple of blog posts that are relevant to the topics we covered. One is about automotive marketing trends. It's an infographic we did with our Google rep. So we got the data directly from Google and put that into a really cool infographic. And one is a post that our director of paid search here did himself that provides 23 free keyword research tools that will help you dominate your local market. And here are our takeaways from our webinar. Check your Google's free tools. Make sure that you're all set. Make sure that you're ready to go for this update that's coming next week. Very important. Check the free tools. Make sure you have structured data markup. Definitely, we think you should get more involved with paid search strategy and make sure that whoever you're using is focusing on relevancy. And hey, let's start selling some parts online. And now we're ready for questions.
Yes, we are. And audience, if you haven't gotten your questions in yet, now is the perfect time to do so. We have two experts on the line ready to take your questions and help you out with anything that's happening at your dealership. Of course, we have Chris Burns and we have Adam Rouff, and they're ready. They're from Drive Digital Group, and they did a wonderful presentation for you. Before we move on to the questions that we already have, though, we got some fun stuff to take care of. Isn't that right? Fellas?
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, it's that time.
Right.
Yeah, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friends at Drive Digital Group are giving away an amazing prize today. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win an iPad mini. Darn it, I really wish I want that. I want this so bad. All you have to do is answer a simple question about the presentation. So this is it. Get to your keyboards. Get ready, everyone. First one to write in the correct response is going to be walking away with this super cool prize today. Of course, vendors, I know you're out there and we love having you on our shows, but if you're there, please sit this one out. This prize is, of course, intended for dealership personnel only. We still love you, though. So here we go, everyone. Good luck. In the beginning of the presentation, Chris and Adam named an event that will be happening soon. Name the event and the date. You think name the event and
really
the date. I want the whole. Oh yes, we got to do that, right? Okay. Oh gosh, so many people wrote in. I'm gonna have to scroll up and see who was the first one to get it. Yeah, of course, everyone.
They all got it?
No. No, silly.
I mean, did people get it right is what I'm asking.
That is true. That is true. Should I take away points for spelling? Let's see.
That's your call. I don't.
That's my call? All right. So the first person, who is this? The first person who got it right. Yeah, I guess she got it right. She didn't put the year, so I guess we'll still give it to her. Kate Packler, you are our winner today. You're the first person who wrote in Mobilegeddon and April 21. That is correct. Katie Packler, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And thank you everyone else for playing along. Hey Kate, in order to send you your prize, we're going to need your address, and or I could just give my address and it could come here and I could keep it for you. I'll keep it safe for you, Kate.
I'll keep it there.
Or just let me know what dealership you're from, too. Okay. All right. I mean, no one ever gives a prize to the moderator, do they? Okay, audience, thank you so much
we'll
for
prize.
Kate, what dealership you from, girl? Oh, here we go. Wow, how the heck do you say that? Barrel Automotive. Barrel Automotive. That must be it. Kate, congratulations from Barrel Automotive. Barrel Automotive. I knew I was going to get that eventually. Okay, so thank you for playing along, everyone. Big congratulations to Kate Packler from Barrel Automotive. And, of course, Thank you to our good friends at Drive Digital Group for their incredible generosity. Aw, and Dave Sharp says, our moderator is the prize. You're so sweet. Womp womp. Okay, here we go. All right, Adam and Chris, if you want to turn on your webcams, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But we already have your first few questions ready for you. Here we go. Your first question comes from Stephanie. And Stephanie, I'm with you, babe. Stephanie says, I'm confused about negative keywords. Are they words that we don't want to be associated with? Now, Chris, you were talking about negative keywords earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I can answer that question. So negative keywords, all it means is that when you're advertising, let's say we're advertising for Honda Civics, right? And our target market is going to be people looking to find out information about our new lineup of Honda Civics. We don't want people that are looking for parts for a Honda Civic to go to our ads because that's not what we're focused on. And so the way that we filter that out is by putting a negative keyword for the term parts in those campaigns. So if somebody searched Honda Civic parts, Google would see that we have parts as a negative keyword, and it would not waste our money or display our ad for that term. Does that answer your question?
Stephanie, if you need some more explanation, hey, write on in, and I'll kick him in the shin for you a little harder. Okay.
Also, if you don't mind, Honda also makes lawn mowers, so you don't want to show up for a lawnmower search when people are actually searching for a vehicle. So you want to exclude lawnmower as part of a negative keyword campaign.
That is a great, great point. Stephanie, she says, got it? Yes, thank you so much. All right, yeah. Steph, you or anyone else who has follow-up questions, you can always write on in to us. Okay, your next question, gentlemen, comes from Richard. Richard says, are the landing pages part of our website? And if so, who makes them? If you manage the SEM, do you partner with the website provider?
That is a great question. So if we're doing SEM for a dealership, and let's say it's a DealerOn website, we absolutely will partner with DealerOn. We'll log into DealerOn's website, and we will create landing pages inside their platform that we can drive that traffic to. And we're going to deep link to all of the relevant stuff that we want, like the inventory inside the DealerOn website. So the answer is yes. We will absolutely create those pages. We do it today on every web platform known to man, in addition to our own sites, obviously.
Nice. All right. And again, that one comes from Richard. So Richard, if you have a follow-up question, hey, send it on in. We're always here to help. Okay. I don't think he does have a follow-up question. Okay. Heather's so funny. Heather wrote in, I would love to talk to the person who isn't doing paid search. Curious about their marketing strategy. I wrote back to her already, and I was like, me too.
It was only 2%, I think. It wasn't that many people.
Right. But let's take that a step further for Heather. So you definitely think every dealership should be doing some form of paid search, correct?
Well, and Adam can maybe speak to this differently than me, but in my opinion, not every dealership should be doing paid search because
what? Who shouldn't be doing paid search? If you have
bigger problems that you need to fix those before you do paid search. You need to get your website in order. It needs to be mobile friendly, right? It needs to be ranking organically, at least in your core market, or on that path. So if you have a really crappy website that isn't converting today, driving more traffic there is wasting your money, right? You need to fix the basics first sometimes before you start doing paid search. So definitely. I'd say the vast majority not in that situation, but there are people that need a little help with the basics before they get into the paid search.
That is an excellent, excellent point, Chris. I thought for sure you were going to say, yeah, everyone should be doing that. Okay, so let's say you do have a good website and you got that section fixed. Then should you be doing paid search?
100% of the time.
Okay, now we're in it. Okay, so the question I usually get, and I'm surprised no one has asked it today, but the question I usually get is how much of your digital marketing budget should you spend on paid search as opposed to other things?
Chris, I got that one. A lot of the times it has to do with where your dealership's located as far as metro is concerned. So we have to do a detailed analysis using those keyword planner tools that Google provides us, not to mention getting involved with the dealer's PMA statistics, pump in and pump out reports. We have to look at the whole geographical area.
Adam? Did we lose you? Oh, we might have lost Adam.
Wow. Well, he made it almost all the way.
Oh, yeah, we did lose him. Oh, man. All right, well, Adam, we're still with you, babe. you want to pick up where he left off?
I think the gist of what he's saying is that it's hard to give a flat answer because it really depends on the dealership's location and the brand and, you know, what other kinds of advertising they're doing. You can't really have a set. You should do X amount of your budget in paid search. It's really case by case.
I got you. Great question, great thought process. Thank you, Heather, for that very insightful comment, by the way. It really brought us to that point. Okay, next question comes from Andy. And he kind of cursed on the keyboard first, and then he went, ugh.
Oh, no.
Then he went, ugh. And then he says, just found out our mobile site is not good. What could I possibly do to get ready/prepare for Mobilegeddon? 5 days, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Okay, so as I said, you have 3 business days before this update hits. The plus that I mentioned earlier is that the update's running in real time. So, you know, unfortunately, if you can't get it fixed in time, you may have a negative impact until you can get it up to speed. If your mobile website is not good, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure that means you have a responsive site that has a lot of problems with it. Maybe it's long load times on the page and something's wrong with the actual responsive design. And I'm not sure if that means you don't have a mobile website or if that means you have a separate mobile website and you need to get onto a responsive or adaptive platform. So I don't know how to accurately answer that, but what I'll say is if you are on a responsive or adaptive website now and you have a problem with it, look inside Webmaster Tools, look at the usability reporting, try to determine what the problems are, get somebody in there that can fix it for you as quickly as possible so that you minimize the damage. If you're on a separate mobile website or you don't have a mobile website and this update's happening in 3 business days, when you finish this webinar, call somebody immediately. Get working on it right away. It's going to be real tough to get it fixed in 3 business days. So you want to, again, get something up and running and just minimize the damage that's going to happen after this update drops.
Jeez, you make it sound so positive, Chris. Minimize the damage. Okay.
I mean, it's really degrees of bad at that point, yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, next question comes from Richard. Richard says that he recently read in Auto Dealer Monthly, he read an article that 94% of Google users never click on PPC ads. Your thoughts? That's what he said. I think that sounds high.
So long-standing statistics.
I'm back. You mind if I take the phone call for us?
Hey, look at that.
Again, I apologize.
Okay.
Well, again, when we spoke about it earlier in the show, we were discussing different areas of paid search and how Google's not the main, I mean, it's the main area for paid. Obviously, millions of people go there, billions of people go there to do searches every day. But you have other areas of paid search that are getting clicked on every day in different areas. YouTube video pre-roll, Facebook targeted advertising, real-time bidding, geofencing. So when you're talking about paid search as a whole, there's a lot of different areas that customers click as part of a paid campaign. And Google is just one of the areas.
Yeah, and I would add to that I don't think there's any dispute. I mean, we could maybe argue the actual percentage of people that click organic ads or organic listings over paid listings, but I don't think there's any dispute that organic listings get far more clicks. I am personally my brain has blocked out paid ads. I don't even look at them anymore. Unless I'm in a buying mode, I'm clicking on an organic result. The number that I have seen is 75% click organic listings, and the bulk of those are clicking only in the top 3 results. And 25% are clicking on paid ads. But regardless of whether it's 25% or 6%, I would agree that the bulk are going organic, and that's why SEO should be such a huge part of your internet marketing strategy. But think about whether it's 6% or 25% of all global searches on Google are going to paid ads. So I wouldn't discount needing to be there. Your competitors are.
Got you. I mean, because I'm thinking they're still making lots of money on PPC, so it couldn't be that ineffective. Otherwise, no one else would be doing it. And even still, I mean, if you go by that logic, if Google, who still has about anywhere from a 68 to a 71% market share, I mean, do you only advertise on Google, or do you also show up on Yahoo, and do you also do stuff on Bing and that kind of thing? So,
right.
Of course you do. You want to be everywhere that your customers could possibly be and could possibly see you. Now, follow-up comment comes from Jeff. He says, I've actually heard the same thing. I've heard PPC is dead. I actually was recommended to only focus on PPC ads for subprime focus because they are more hard-pressed and hoping for anything that they can find. Interesting.
Well, I understand the logic of what he's saying, that you're targeting a more desperate person. They'll be more likely to click a paid ad. However, to reinforce what you were saying, whether it's 25% or 6% of a billion people, there's still a lot of people doing paid search clicks. And I wouldn't discount it. Your competitors absolutely won't be discounting it.
I mean, you can set up paid search so that it stops at a certain number of clicks. I mean, you could do it that way as well, right? So, I mean, you could see how effective it is or ineffective it is. It's not something that you're locked into.
And it's funny because most of the time, the trouble we run into is we don't have enough budget to keep our customers' ads up all month. So you have to really ration the budget to make sure that you're showing throughout the month. So the people are clicking, for sure. They're there doing those searches and making those clicks.
Yeah, and I figure even if you sell one car from it in a month, isn't that worth it, kind of? Okay, so Jeff, thank you so much for that insight. I really appreciate it. Next question comes to you from Rory. Rory says, do you know if the Ford Direct sites are adaptive or responsive? I assume he means.
I don't know off the top of my head. Do you, Adam?
I believe that they are on a click motive platform, which is neither responsive nor adaptive. They have a separate mobile website, I believe. And that's just off the top of my head. The last time I checked one of our Ford stores, which was recently, it was on a mobile website.
Interesting. Definitely something to check out. All right, gentlemen, your next question comes to you from Casey. Casey, I saw your tweet. Thank you so much, sir. Casey says, are many dealerships selling parts on Amazon? Just curious if you have an integration for that. Ooh, interesting. Adam, Chris?
That's a great question. So our parts platform is just coming out now. We've been working on it for quite a while, and we are launching with an eBay integration. However, our first major update that we're looking to make is to include an Amazon integration. We've still got to do a lot of work with their API to make that happen, so probably won't be tomorrow, but it is on our development checklist.
Excellent.
And as far as I know, there are no parts platforms today that offer an Amazon integration, just so you know.
Okay. All right. Casey, thank you so much for the great question. Follow-up from the question before comes in from Janice. She says, I am at a Ford dealership, and we got an email informing us that our Ford Direct site would be ready for April 21st. So we'll see.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
I don't know what that means. I would still check those tools I recommended and just double-check for yourself.
I think that's prudent advice. Okay, Janice, thank you so much for the information. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get to this last question from Richard. He's got a doozy for you, too. He says, how important is it to have Google Analytics running from your website before you start an AdWords campaign? I'm missing about 2 months of my Google Analytics during a website transfer. How long will I need to let my stats gather before I can start up my AdWords campaign? Any advice for Richard, Adam, and Chris?
I have some advice. So if you're missing a couple months, you should have enough historical data to still make a pretty good case for launching your paid search campaigns. The main thing that you're concerned about is your site converting. Does it have a bounce rate problem? Are there problems on the site now before we send paid traffic there that are only going to be amplified when we do send paid traffic there? We just want to make sure that you're not wasting your advertising dollars, and that's the reason we check analytics. So if you have a brand new website and you don't have analytics, I would recommend that you wait until you have some analytics on that new website. If it's an old site and you just did some updates and you missed a couple months of analytics, no big deal, I'd launch. If it's new, wait and make sure that it's good to go before you send paid traffic there.
Adam, any advice you can offer as well? Oh, Richard already wrote in thanks.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You're doing a good job today.
Yeah, he's firing on all cylinders. Chris, you must have had your Wheaties this morning. You did excellent today. And Adam, thanks for showing up, babe.
Thank you.
He struggled hard to get on this call.
No, you did great. You did great. I'm glad you were able to dial back in. Thank you so much, both of you, Adam and Chris. Fantastic presentation. Wonderful advice, by the way. Really wonderful. Of course, I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. I'm also going to be posting this webinar recording online within 24 hours. To find it, go to DealerOn.com/webinars, and there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. And yeah, this webinar is going to conclude in just a moment, and you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We're always looking for your feedback, and we want to know what you thought of today's presentation. Did you like it? Did you love it? Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And really, we really want to know what you have to say. So please, please, please fill out that survey. Also want to let you know, DealerOn is going to be exhibiting and presenting at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention next week in Tampa, Florida. I'm going to be there. I'd love to meet you. Please stop by booth 300. Say hi. Let's take a picture, have a drinky poo, something like that. We have the best booth around. You're going to love it. We're going to have some fun. While you're getting your digital dealer on, please check out the speaking sessions from these amazing DealerOn executives as well. And, yeah, you might have heard about it already. That's right. We're going to be tearing it up in Tampa on Wednesday night, April 22nd at 8 p.m. We got the heck of a party. And if you want to go, then you have to stop by booth 300 and pick up your pass for the Digital Dealer Party. This is the one you want to go to if you only go to one. All right? Hope to see you there. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next DealerOn webinar. Mobile breakthroughs that are changing how your customers shop. It's a fact that more and more people are using smartphones throughout the automotive shopping process. Mobile is driving consumer interaction, and with the addition of smartphones, beacons, and location targeting, the consumer automotive journey continues to evolve. And dealers, you need to connect and convert those growing numbers of tech-savvy mobile shoppers. But what can you do about it? Well, guess what? Ben Anderson, President and CEO of AutoMotion, and he's a mobile technology expert. He knows how mobile is shaping automotive retail and the latest technology trends that can help you sell more cars. For instance, did you know that dealers can now create a new wave of personalized interaction to directly influence a mobile customer's automotive shopping experience by using new beacon technology and location targeting? Well, easily connecting with mobile shoppers isn't some mysterious future communication channel. It's here, it's now, it's powerful, and it's only going to get more relevant. So if you're ready to understand the mobile shopper's automotive journey and discover how beacons will positively affect your dealership, then this is a webinar you can't afford to miss. Don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you, so track me down online. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, you name it, I'm everywhere. I'm also on all the automotive social networks, or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in DealerOn's continuing education series. Take care.